I'm doing this video again because I didn't go into too much depth when I was doing about what tools you need, because we all need a tool to put this on, this fitting onto this pipe. Now you can buy pre-made pipe and they're quite good, except we can't get them here. Well, we can, but they're all in galvanised steel, which is a waste of time. You might as well throw your money out the window. There's two different types of flares we need on brake pipes. We need a male or a female. It's most important that you, when you take your old pipes off, to keep these little bits, these stubby bits, instead of throwing them away, keep them in your pockets, because you never know which is the right one. Usually we use this one that goes into, how do we say, a caliper or a brake cylinder. But beware, sometimes it's like this. It's got a double flare on the end, a female, that goes in the caliper or the slave cylinder, on the wheel cylinder should I say, especially with how do we say, drum brakes at the back. Just be careful. Don't always assume that because it's got fitting like this, it's going to be a male fitting like this. If you try to put them together, what's going to happen, if it's a female with a little pointy bit sticking out the end, you could collapse the tube here. You could collapse the opening over the tube in the cylinder and put it out of line, and then you'll never bleed your brakes through. Don't ask me how that happened to me. So, what tools do we use? Well, let's go back in time, like Kylie. We'll step back in time. This is the first tool I ever bought. I must have bought this when I was 17. It'll be a bloody collector's item now. More prod. And it served me for years and years and years and years and years. It's a simple little tool. It's got a die on that end and another one at that end. This one's for doing the males and this one's for doing the females. So what you do is, first of all, you screw this into this tool here and make a bubble. Then you turn it round and finish it with that one. It's very simple. Yeah, I sort of used it for years and years and years. I mean, these are hardened dies. I'm not sure if that's hardened, I think it is, but I've got through, the nuts inside were just mild steel, and I've got through quite a few of them. Yeah, you just sort of clamp it in a vise and then you can do your pipe. And also it was got a handle on, so if you're under a car and you don't want to take the whole pipe out, you just want to put a connector between a piece to lengthen it or whatever you wanted to do, you could hold it in your hand and do it. It was a bit tight on steel pipe, but with the advent of cunifer pipe, this is copper, nickel and iron, it goes really, really well. Alright, so that was my first tool. When I came to Canada, I didn't have any tools when I came here. Look at all this shit I've gathered up now. But when I first came here, I left that at home. I didn't think I could bring it in. Well, maybe I could. Maybe you thought it was a gun or something. I had this kit. Never, ever buy this. It is absolute rubbish for making brake pipes. Why? Because it's designed for doing plumbing fittings. And to do the brake pipes is sort of an afterthought. This is a kind of handy dandy tool. I use this principally now. This is brilliant for clamping plastic pipe and hammering on the fittings for like fuel lines or breather pipes or something like that. That's brilliant for doing that. But what happens is you get, well, here's one here, we'll show it. Wait a minute, there's one here, look. You get these adapters. Now this is for a bigger pipe. So what you do is you get your pipe clamped in here, you put this adapter in your pipe, and then there's a tiny little flare on the inside. Can you see that? And what you're supposed to do is screw this down, like it's a horseshoe clamp, so you hold it on and then you screw that down, and it's supposed to put a flare on. But what happens with them when you use like 3/16, the pin snaps off the back, thus rendering it bloody useless because it's so small. Yeah, there's so many things to misalign on this. It's just garbage, but I like this bit. But don't, honestly, save your money. So that's that out of the way. The one that I use all the time is this old tool here. This is a how do we say, a Sykes-Pickervant tool. I haven't screwed the handle on yet, but I'm going to use it in a minute to make some brake pipe. And it's really simple, and it's got so many, it's so versatile. As you can see here, you've got a die, and you clamp your pipe in. I'll show you it down here, then we'll use it. And then you swing that across, clamp your pipe down, and with the handle in here, you stamp on the end of the pipe. You stamp it on. Is that clear? I'll do it like this so you can see. So what happens is it stamps on. Good. Now in the box there comes a variety of fittings and pipes, and the dies go up to this size. It's a great thing. And of course you get a corresponding box of stamps here, you know, to push the ends on. Nowadays, this same tool, it comes it comes with a turret at the top, so you can, instead of having a box full of all bits and pieces of dies and things like this, it's got a turret so you can turn it and then stamp the ends on as you require. It's quite a good idea. They're not cheap, but if you want to do brake pipes and stuff like that, they're really, really easy to do. But it might be, if you've got about 3 or 4 cars to do, it might be worth an investment to get something like this. I mean, even a cheapy one from China is better than doing it with well, that. Honestly. So once you've made your tools, how are you going to bend them? The curious stuff is a joy to use. It really is. You have a hard time to kink it, but you can kink it. The steel pipe is just unforgiving. It's terrible stuff. Over here in Quebec, when I first came here, when we were doing vehicle inspections, they wouldn't let us use this. Even though the cars were all fitted with this, we had to take it off and put steel pipe on. Why? Because they thought it was copper pipe. Well, you can see by the colour of it, it's not copper at all. Copper's more red than this. But they wouldn't have it, so we had to take all the pipes off and replace it with this, hence the tools, you see. After a few years they've wised up to the fact that Mercedes-Benz were fitting this as standard, so they couldn't actually say, well, that's car scrap, you've got to take all the pipes off and do them in steel. Pipe bending tools. This is a very primitive thing you can get here. Again, waste of money. It's just absolute rubbish. I'll tell you for the reason why. I bought stuff because I didn't know. You're supposed to put the pipe on there and then bend it round the former, and same as this here to get curves, right? But the thing is that the curve here isn't sort of really as tight as we'd like, and also you've got a great big place there to lock the pipe on. Well, sort of like a waste of pipe, you have to cut it down. Yeah, it's okay, but not the best. If you are doing a lot of pipes, this is a handy little pair of pliers to get. This is for 3/16 and 1/4 inch pipe. I know it's metric stuff now, but that's what it was always. That's what it's always going to be. You put your pipe in like this, look, and you bend it round a radius like this, and you can keep bending it. Can you see that? Look, you can keep bending it, and you make up a lovely curve without kinking. And you can do it for the bottom pipe is for like clutch hoses. So I've never actually bought a Land Rover clutch hose. I've had some old ones and I just copy them. Why not? So that's basically the tools you need. So let's do a sample of a brake pipe using the old Sykes-Pickervant tool here. I'll get set up. Just before we start, I thought I'll make it clear the difference between inch pipes and metric pipes. It is so close for the fittings. Alright, so you've got to beware. This is a set of Series 3 brake pipes. If anybody wants some, I've got loads and loads and loads of sets of these. I'll do them cheap because I want to get rid of them. Now, the series trucks use 3/8 thread. Generally speaking, and this is a rule of thumb, so you know, just be super cautious. But generally, the inch ones were zinc plated, bright zinc plated, like a silvery colour. Fit on like that. Right? Now, for these fittings, you use the female flare because there's a point on here, and the female flare, where's it gone? Fits on the end. No, wait a minute, I've got it wrong way around. Editing. Fits on the end like that, if you see what I mean. If you put that onto there, you're going to have a hell of a job trying to get it to seal. Just beware. If you're not sure, ask. So we've established that the silvery ones are for inch. Now this, like I say, this is a rule of thumb because there's some brass ones out there now. Very hard to tell apart. But you can see that one's a nice snug fit on the thread. The metric ones are very similar. They'll screw on. But can you see how loose they are? It's a little bit looser. So just be careful. So when you tighten these up, you could strip the threads. Game over for pipe and probably fitting. So I just wanted to fill you in on that one. Let's make some brake pipes. So I've got the tool clamped in the vise and we're going to make a male fitting. Alright, so we need that one. Putting in the die, putting into there. And we put our pipe in like that. And the pipe should be flush here with the end of the die. Can you see that? I hope you can. Put the other part of the die in. Just make sure it's flush. Put the cover on. Tighten it down. Oops, zoom out a bit. Yeah, so we've tightened that down and then simply put a bit of reef onto there and stamp the end on. And then back that off and we should have a nice bubble flare. Can you see that? That's a nice one, isn't it? Right, so now we've made the male piece. Now we're going to put, as an example, we're going to put a female flare on. So don't forget to put the nut on. Flush with the end. I think with the turret ones you've got to stop. You can turn the turret so it goes to stop. So when you push your pipe through, you know it's at the right size. But this is old. This must be about 40 years old. Tighten it down. Move that out of the way. Again. Pull it down, off, and then we're going to turn this upside down and we complete the flare. Oops, well, the handles come off. I'll send that back to site to speak of it. You're under warranty, no doubt. And there we have a female. See? So we've got an example of a male and a female. Like I say, what we'll do now is we'll just bend that round with our fingers. You don't need tools for men. Well, I suppose they get into trouble now for calling a male and female. But there you go, that's a good example of the pipes. To end this section off, I'll do a little anecdote, because when I first came here, I didn't have any tools. I didn't even have a screwdriver when I came here. But I bought a Renault 5 because it was the only car I understood from Europe. I didn't like American stuff, so I got this little Renault and I needed a brake pipe. Well, I couldn't buy one off the shelf, so what I did was I took the old fittings off. I managed to get the old like the fittings, and being a Renault, it was a really odd size. I went down to Canadian Tire, a local, the auto repair shop and general store, and I said, look, I've got some pipe here. I bought the pipe, I cut it to length. I says, can you put the ends on? Oh yeah, he says, leave it with me. Wow, after an hour I was just wondering, have they done it yet? And he says, no, we're having a bit of trouble with it. So I said, well, can I have a look? Can I give you a few tips? Big head. Anyway, they were working with a tool like this. And I said, well, do you mind if I have a go? He says, no, you can, yeah, we don't really do brake pipes, we just buy them and put them on. You know, they have them already pre-made in different lengths here, but not with that fitting. Anyway, I did it. And then I come to realise, when I come to the checkout to pay for it, I realised it was about a foot short. And what they'd done is, every time they made a mess of doing the flare, they cut it back, cut it back, cut it back. It's no bloody good now. So I had to start again, buy a new piece of pipe and do it again. What jokers. Anyway, mechanics figure it.